Hey, thanks for being a part of the conversation. This is Play It Forward. Real people, real stories. The struggle to play it forward. Episode number 610 is with Spencer R. Rackley IV, the Astro Nerd. Hey, I want to start things off by pretty much kind of clarifying what's going on with everything up in space, because how is it that we're getting two of these lunar eclipses so close together? Have we ever gone through this before?
Well, the situation for these eclipses is kind of like the position in the orbit of the Earth around the moon, and the position of the orbit of the the position of the orbit of the moon, of the Earth around the sun, and the position of the orbit of the moon around the Earth. The moon is tilted 5 degrees to the plane of the Earth's orbit, so that when it's on one side of the sun, actually a quarter away around, the tilt puts the moon above and below the sun, and the shadow passes over and below the Earth. When it's a quarter away around the orbit, there's a node on each side where the moon will line up with the sun and cast a shadow on the Earth. The eclipses for a particular place on the Earth, usually it takes around 400 years for an eclipse to occur in the same place. Now, these two eclipses that we had this year, the October 14th annular and the one that's coming up in April, they cross, and the eclipses are quite uncommon to cross like that, especially in this short period of time. We had one in 2017 that did about the same thing, and Carbondale, Illinois will get the 2024 April 8th eclipse, as well as it had the 2017 eclipse. Wow. So you got, several very rare occurrences happening at the same place.
When this sort of thing happens, I mean, I can't imagine what the impact is on this planet when it goes dark for maybe 30 seconds or even 3 minutes. But what is the impact? I remember the last one in 2017 that we experienced. I mean, it became peacefully calm. Everything just went silent in the forest.
That's because the animals think it's becoming nighttime again.
Okay.
And they'll go to sleep. and the eclipse can be anywhere from seconds long to up to 7 minutes, a total eclipse.
Yeah, and they've always fascinated me in the way that it really proves how much the planet is moving around the moon, or how the moon is moving around the planet. Because, you always heard about it in science, but until you physically go through an eclipse, you physically see it. You experience it. Is that the reason why you're drawn to it?
Once you see one eclipse, you will start trying to find a way to the next one. People up here in 2017 that saw the 2017 partial eclipse here, they say, I saw it. What's the big deal? If you weren't south of Spartanburg, you did not see a total solar eclipse. You saw a partial. And if you were south of Spartanburg and north of Augusta, you were awed like nothing you've ever experienced. It's kind of like seeing God.
So now, we've always heard...
And that will be in Luxor, Egypt, and it will be almost 7 minutes long.
Wow.
And then there's one in 2026 that goes through Iceland and Spain. So I'm planning on those right now.
Well, how do you plan for it? Because there's one thing that you shared with me many times is that this is a money-making thing for a lot of different businesses, because the cost of even camping right now for this next one, it's in the thousands if you want to see it.
Well, let me give you a little background. In 1991, there was a total solar eclipse that was 6 minutes and 40 some odd seconds. And it went through Mazatlan, Mexico, and Hawaii. So you had an arc that was coming from Hawaii down through Mazatlan, Mexico. Me and my wife wanted to go to that eclipse, and about 2 years ahead of time, I saw that Carnival Cruise Lines was going to put a ship down there. So I called them up, asked them what they were doing for an eclipse, for the upcoming eclipse. And they said, "What's an eclipse?"
Oh, no.
That gives you an idea about, how out of it they were. In the 2017 eclipse, 2 years ahead of time, I was able to book 30 rooms down in Irma, South Carolina, for a group that I was taking down there for this eclipse, for that eclipse. And it worked out well. I tried to do the same thing for this one. Nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to give me rooms ahead of time. I could not get more than one room for this eclipse, and I had to wait till April the 8th, 23 to book it. And the next day, most of the rooms were gone. These people have figured out what's going on and how many people are coming, and they're boosting their prices left and right. I was looking at a hotel site yesterday, and they have 4-day weekends set up for this thing, and some of them are like $1,600, $1,700. And there's not many places left with rooms open.
Yeah, because I mean, in the business world, when you say 4 days, I mean, that to me, if I were a hotel owner, I would make sure that you did stay there 3 or 4 days so I can get my money on both sides of it.
Yeah, that is a big thing that they're doing. They're trying to get you to stay longer than that, actually.
Do you like the way that NASA has been really focusing in on, because the NASA channel was doing basically play-by-play action. In fact, you even got Eric Thomas from Channel 3 doing some play-by-play action of the eclipse. That stuff to me fascinates me because a lot of people, like you said, are so uneducated about what the eclipse is and what the effects are.
Yeah, NASA does a good job. Eric Thomas was down there in Irma with my group, and he did a great job down there, play-by-play doing that eclipse. And for like months before that particular eclipse, he was on his weather station, his weather channel, promoting the thing and explaining exactly what would happen and what you would see and all of these other things. Yeah, they're doing a good job of it.
Yeah. When do you start getting ready to take off out of town for something like this? I know it's in April, but you still have to plan ahead.
I've been planning for this thing for 2 years.
Jeez. Wow.
I've been setting up cameras and test running and doing all the things necessary. I'm trying to figure out how to ship all my equipment to Texas and have it safe and have it arrive on time. There's lots of things that you have to do to get ready for one of these things.
So you take this really seriously, not just somebody who's got a pair of those fancy glasses, but you're taking camera work down there with you as well.
You see this hat?
Yes.
It says Eclipse Mega Movie. I was doing the Eclipse Mega Movie with a bunch of people at the last eclipse. It was a scientific experiment where they were going to take images that people have shot across the eclipse path and put them together into a movie so they can see the streamers and how they floated out, and how the magnetic fields were interfering and pushing those streamers in certain directions. And for this eclipse, I'm still part of the mega movie Eclipse team, and we're going to do the same thing. Take images all along the eclipse path and put them all together to make a movie for scientific research.
Oh my God. My God. That's the kind of stuff that fascinates me as we continue to grow in space, putting man back on the moon and reaching out to Mars. It's almost like we need these eclipses to keep our own interests here on this planet.
Yes. And there's a lot of science that can come out of observing eclipses. For instance, they don't really know the size of the sun, and one of the experiments that is going to be done for this eclipse is imaging, trying to figure out how big in angular the angle of the view to see how big the sun actually is.
Well, man, we got to talk even more and more about this the closer we get, so we can get some excitement going, on this side of the planet, and really getting people involved and, looking for new information.
Yeah. Some of the things that can be done, I have a little trick here, if you can bear with me for a second. Something that people at home can actually do. It's a small model of the Earth and the Moon. See, I got a yardstick.
Yeah.
I'm putting a 1-inch ball on one end to be the Earth. On the other end, I'm going to put a less than a pea size ball for the Moon. And you can take this out in your yard on a sunny day and point the moon at the sun and try to find a way to get the shadow to fall on the Earth, and show you exactly how difficult that alignment actually is. And it works real well, and it can teach a lot of people exactly how eclipses occur.
Wow, that's pretty fascinating. That's very fascinating.
Another thing that you got to remember is your eclipse glasses.
Yes, you have to have those.
Now, around here, that eclipse is going to be about 80%. Kind of like the 2017. It was like 95% here. 80% is a fairly decent partial eclipse. But you're going to need your solar eclipse glasses.
Which you can get at Amazon very easily.
Yeah, you can get them there. I have a website that people can go to. It's called eclipse.aas.org, and that's the American Astronomical Society website. I'm a member of that group, and they have all the information that you ever wanted to know about total solar eclipses and partial eclipses and lunar eclipses and things like that. That would be a good place for everyone to go to.
Now, how can people reach out to you?
Astro Nerd at bellsouth.net.
Well, promise me we're going to talk before that eclipse actually happens. Maybe when you get into Texas, we can get together and you can tell me what's going on down there.
I'm going to be way busy. I'm going to be way busy because I'm also working with the visitors bureau of the little town that I'm going to be in.
Yeah.
And they're going to be partying in the streets, and they're going to be setting up food trucks, and they're going to be having speakers and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going to be real busy with them.
That's what I like to hear. I like to hear that. All right, a week ahead of time, we'll get together and we'll talk about it again. All right?
Yeah, we could do it anytime you want to, except for that weekend.
Well, man, thank you so much for talking today and at least enlightening us on what this is all about and how we can prepare for it.
Well, it's a very, very amazing experience. It's kind of like seeing God.
Yep.
It's that bizarre, that inspiring, and that amazing. If you've never seen one, you have to go and stand in the shadow of the moon, and 99.999999999% of totality is not good enough.
Yep. Wow. Well, you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
You do the same.